Well, some of you be saying, that doesn't look like a Clio, and why is it orange? Well, because that's not a Clio, that's a Fiesta, the Fiesta Mk6, the one I've been talking about. I need to make 3 carbon roofs, step by step. Again, if you like it, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to click like, leave a comment, tell me what other car you want me to do next. Wipe it and apply lots of big flanges everywhere because we're making it with a mold. That's a good one! As you've seen before, and I don't need to tell you this, the process is easy but very tedious. Takes a lot of time because obviously you need to pay attention to every single corner, every single inch of your future part mold, because everything needs to be covered. You don't want any locking. So the flanges are done. I think I made them much better than the previous roof I made because they're much bigger. So for infusion you have enough real estate essentially to put your off-cut or overshoot of carbon. So we have at the front, all the way on the sides, on the rear. On the rear you can see how kind of complicated it was, because obviously this shape goes sort of like this, and then all we need is an outline of the original roof, but we need all the extra stuff around so it kind of completes the shape. And also what I had to do here is I had to put wax on the inside because the original roof kind of goes inside, and one, I'm really worried that it will have a mechanical lock when I remove the mold, but two, because of this kind of shape, when you lay the proper roof with carbon, you would need to really stick all the carbon on the inside, and I'm just worried that if it comes off a little bit, then you'll have a void, a dry spot, and then it'll just not gonna look as good. Either way, I'm just kind of covered it, so it still has this kind of curvature onto the inside, but it's not as pronounced, so it would be a lot easier to remove whatever the part or whatnot. So as you can see, glue gun always works best. Flanges everywhere around. Aluminium foil tape because I love using that. Nothing really sticks to it, providing you put release agent. Yeah, the roof is not a perfect condition, I have to admit. If this was, for example, for show cars and I was planning to make hundreds of these roofs, then in an ideal world, this whole thing would need to be repaired. There's a little dent in here. This hole where the antenna was would need to be sort of properly flattened and whatever. So you have to prepare your part. So your finished part is only as good as the original one. I mean, it has been polished, so it's nice and sort of shiny and everything, but it's just not perfect. So because those are race cars that I'm making those roofs for, it would still be fine, you know, it would still be absolutely fine. And also if somebody, whoever buys it in the future, for example, I don't know, some of you might want a Mk6 Fiesta roof. If you want even a better result after you get the roof, you can always flatten the roof, the carbon roof, and then you clear, and then you flatten it again, then you clear, achieving a proper amazing result. For a race car, they're not even gonna clear this because carbon is UV stable. All you will need to do is literally polish it if you want it shiny, but if it was me, trim it, stick it in, job's a good one. So yeah, next step of the process is, as always, where is my thingy? You all know this by now. CR1, chemical release agent, because the roof is shiny, it's not porous. The material that I use on flanges, I can't remember what's it called, but it's sort of the plasticky thing, DPE, whatever. So it's not porous. So chemical release agent will work absolutely wonders in here. Better than PVA, because PVA leaves sort of this kind of textured surface, can leave marks, but chemical release agent is much better on really large sort of flat surfaces like that, especially if they're painted. So yeah, 6 coats of chemical release agent, 15 minutes between each coat, 1 hour between last coat, and after that you can apply your gel coat. In this instance, I will need, you know what? Let me apply the chemical release and then I'll tell you what I'm doing next. Gel coat reached the stage that we need, so now we need to apply next layer. Next layer is a coupling coat. Effectively, it's a thin layer that is a low shrink, and it's basically in the middle layer between the gel coat and your main reinforcement. And for that, we also need 100 gram really thin tissue just to build a few layers. And also it's really useful because the 100 gram can easily go into really sort of intricate folds and everything. So 2 layers of that, maybe about a liter of that resin, and then we'll wait 3-4 hours until it gels and we can apply main reinforcement. This thing is all dry. Let's lift it up and see how well we made the mold. Ta-da! You know what? In all honesty, this is actually better than I thought it was gonna be, because the surface is magnificent. It's so light. So whoever polished it, they did do the polishing job, even though it was just impossible to see. Because it's a silver car, it was impossible to see how well it is. But it's literally like a mirror. Obviously it needs a clean, obviously it needs a wet sand and a polish. But you know what? Even if I lay the roof from this surface right away, it would be probably better than mine original clear roof, because my original clear was never like that. Because obviously I had matte paint, and obviously I didn't polish it, so the surface was actually worse than this one. Fairly large flanges. You see, I'm learning my mistakes. Yes, this does involve a little bit of wet sanding. Bob the builder, giving a helping hand with a bit of sanding. Basically what we're doing, really happy with the mold. Like I said, it's super smooth and shiny and will polish absolutely perfect. There's few places where sort of the metal on the original roof sort of meets up. It would leave a really sharp edge with the gel coat, and you kind of need to, I don't know if you can see it right here, you can kind of just need to sort of flatten it just to make it smoother. So when you apply your fabric, it doesn't snag, nothing catches on, and it basically just doesn't have a mechanical lock. So literally only going around the perimeter, just sanding all those little bits around. Yeah, it's pretty much ready. And then 6 layers, 6 layers of chemical release agent, and it should be laid up today. Check this out. I've never had a mold this shiny. I mean, can you see it on the camera? It literally, I can actually, you know, do my hair and makeup. Amazing. So we've done, I'm actually just strategically polishing another little bit where it was. So we've done 800, 1500 grit, then obviously cleaned it a few times, this and that, and then few polishing pads using G360 compound, and then we buffed it with a microfiber, and the result is amazing. Obviously mold cleaner to clean everything after I'm done with everything, and it's ready for gum tape around the flanges and put your material in. Now I'm cutting the carbon. The problem is, could be my fault, could be somebody who gave me the size. We thought that it was under 1 meter. So what I got is 1 meter length of carbon. If we go lengthwise, like I wanted, which is 1.8 meters, it would have been perfect. But the thing is 1.1 meters. So we have to do it in 2 parts. In order to do it in 2 parts, you need to have a really nice seam. Part line, as they call it. There's been a number of videos before. AJ Hartman, he's the one who inspired me. I've seen it last year or something like that. So he uses what's called fiberglass veil. This is not it. This is a hemming strip for dressmaking. Essentially, I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing. So with this, we're gonna make a really nice straight line. Fingers crossed. You cut the length of this, then spray adhesive is your friend. And you kind of now we just stick it on to the side. Making sure it goes as straight as possible. Something like this. I mean, this tape is for dressmaking, so theoretically you can just apply heat as per instructions. I didn't want to apply heat because I think contact adhesive works really well, and it worked for me really well in the past. So we're just going with this like that. Then you definitely need one of those rotary cutters. Now what we do, we flip this fabric around. So theoretically, it would have worked. Like that. And it should give us a really straight edge. I'll show you in a second. What you're left with is a super straight edge that doesn't really fray because you have backing of this tape. Let's put this into the mold and see what we have. now we need to sandwich those 3mm foam strips into the roof just to give it a bit more rigidity. Tried and tested. Some people say put a big sheet. No need for it. 2 strips work absolutely fine. The problem is, it's not really a problem, but in order to infuse it properly, and actually you can buy it from Easy Composites, it has to be perforated and it has to have little channels so the resin can go around it and in it, and you know, so it's all good. So this stuff that I have, well, quite a bit of it, is not perforated, so I made a tool. Yeah, so what it is basically 6 spikes 1 inch apart, sharpened it, put it on the lathe, so there is a little sort of groove channel, if you can see, and all you have to do is run it like that. Yeah, MacGyver, isn't it? Finally, takes such a long time, especially when it's such a large mold. I did something a little bit different on this one. Because it's such a large mold, we're pulling resin from one side all the way to another. We're gonna use slow hardness, so we have at least an hour, 20 minutes before it sets. But I introduced a secondary line right in the center line. So if it takes too slow and the resin only reaches a middle, then I know what I can do. I can cut off that line, mix a fresh batch of resin, and run it through the center to the back. This is basically a backup. Here we go. To be honest with you, that's a lot faster than I expected. Maybe because slightly different carbon. I'm not using biaxial, so maybe I should slow down a little bit.
Rolling, red carpet everywhere that you go. Talking so smooth, carry on a roll. Now you're seeing stars like Vinny Van Gogh. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back when you got it like that. When you got it like that. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back when you got it like that. Tops while you're bumping the beats, drop that boom boom, got the sound of the streets. No, don't stop, let it run on repeat. Ain't nothing gonna hold you back.
1 o'clock in the morning. I don't know. I think I'm happy. There was one little incident. I didn't mix enough resin, and then it pulled a bunch of air through that thing all the way through, lost vacuum. I put more. It looks okay, but I'm just a little bit worried. But I guess I won't know until I pull this thing off. Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Alright, so this may appear like I've missed a few steps because I'm already showing you the final piece of the puzzle. Polishing was the only missing step, and that is boring. That's literally about an hour, 40 minutes of just... So it's complete. I'm very happy. The weight is 2.7 or 8 kilograms, so it's very light. On the inside you can see I have 2 foam reinforcement strips. Unfortunately, you can still see the print through. The only reason why you can see a print through is because this is for a race car, so we went as light as possible, so it's only 3 layers of carbon. If it was a show car, in order to eliminate the print through from the strips, you basically put an extra strip of carbon underneath, so the thicker layer will be there, and then it will never show. But on a race car, it's absolutely fine. In ideal world, and Will, who I made this roof for, will need to decide whether he wants it show car-ish quality and versus weight, because this is literally has no gel coat, no lacquer, and it's just literally been polished. If it was my car, this is absolutely perfect for my needs. But if he wants it better, or if you want it better, if you want to order one of those, because I do have a mold, Fiesta Mk6, clear coat, lacquer, and then you can polish it to absolutely mirror finish, and it will be like a show car quality. Yeah, gobsmacked. Really enjoyed the infusion process. Takes a bit of time, obviously, to lay everything perfectly, but as you can see, the corners, I'm not gonna lie, there was a few dry spots in here, there was a few dry spots in the sort of in the center, but what I did, I mixed a small batch of resin, literally just put a little sort of dabs, and then I've sort of flattened it with 800, 1000 and 1200 to 1500 grade sandpaper, and there is no pinholes, no nothing, so we fixed everything. I did mess up a little bit on this one, like I said, and you've probably seen it on the time lapse where ran out of resin in a thing while I was mixing, and there was a little bit of air drawn in, so you can see there's a little bit of a sort of discoloration on here, but obviously this is covered, this is underneath the thing. The main good point is that all of the top part is completely sort of nice and flat, there is nothing sort of visible, and you know what, it looks absolutely sick. I am gobsmacked how good this looks. It's all trimmed and it's basically ready to go, so I'm not going to be fitting this. The car is getting picked up tomorrow, so this thing is ready to go with the car. And guys, thank you very much for you who stuck through the whole video, if you have. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe, click like as always. Write me a comment. If you want one of those Mk6 Fiesta roofs, let me know. If you want one for the Clio, let me know. If you want it for your other car, let me know. We can sort something out if you find me orders. Anyways, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.